Okay. Pal Colin, yeah, back again for another video. It's been a while. And today I want to talk about, are godly men a red flag? Yeah. Are godly men a red flag? Yeah. This only came up because I was watching a video online, and this woman was saying godly men are a red flag, obviously, innit? I'm thinking, what kind of demon is this? Yeah. Thinking, what kind of demon is this? And then I just sat on it for a bit, innit? I was just really thinking about it. Right. And I thought maybe she's got a point here. So yeah, I'm just gonna give my thoughts on it and explore why that may be the case. Yeah. So we're just gonna talk about that for a bit. I'm just gonna talk about that for a bit. Yeah. Now I haven't posted obviously for a while in it, but see, we're here now in it. I should be posting more frequently. Okay. But one of the things that I was wrestling with for quite a while, yeah, I would say for the better part of 6 months, maybe even a year, to be fair, was this passage in the Bible where Paul is speaking to the Corinthians. He's speaking about marriage and singleness. Okay. And he says, stay in the condition in which you were called. Right? Now, for me, the Bible is black and white. It's ones and zeros. Yeah. There's no shades of grey. Yeah? There's nuances, but everything's logical. Everything's systematic. Do you know, like that? And I think this passage, when Paul was when Paul was speaking to the Corinthians, is actually quite clear. Like, I think people tend to do mental gymnastics when it comes to the word and things they don't like. Do you understand? But this is definitely not spoken enough about in church. Yeah? Or when someone's trying to... it's not something you would really evangelize right off the bat, but it's something that people should know in it before they decide to pick up their cross. Do you understand? Now, I was thinking, would it have changed my mind? It probably wouldn't have changed my mind in the end, but it would have been a nice to know. Do you know, like that? But yeah, I'll read the whole thing for you, and we can just go from there. Do you know, like that? So, boom. 1 Corinthians 7, right? Concerning marriage and singleness, right? Now, concerning the things about which you wrote, it is good for a man not to touch a woman. But because of sexual immoralities, each man is to have his own wife, and each woman is to have her own husband. The husband must fulfill his duty to his wife, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise also the husband does not have authority over his own body, but the wife does. I kind of lost track there. Stop depriving one another except by agreement for a time, so that you may devote yourselves to prayer and come together again, so that Satan will not tempt you because of your lack of self-control. But this I say as a concession, not as a command. Yet I wish that all men were even as I myself am. However, each man has his own gift from God, one this way and another that. But I say to the unmarried and to widows that it's good for them if they remain even as I. But if they do not have self-control, let them marry, for it is better to marry than to burn with passion. But to the married I give instructions, not I but the Lord, that the wife should not leave her husband, but if she does leave, she must remain unmarried or else be reconciled to her husband, and that the husband should not divorce his wife. But to the rest I say, not the Lord, that if any brother has a wife who is an unbeliever, and she consents to live with him, he must not divorce her. And a woman who has an unbelieving husband, and he consents to live with her, she must not divorce her husband. For the unbelieving husband is sanctified through his wife, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified through her believing husband. For otherwise your children are unclean, but now they are holy. Yet if the unbelieving one leaves, let him leave. The brother or the sister is not enslaved in such cases, but God has called us to peace. For how do you know, O wife, whether you will save your husband? Or how do you know, O husband, whether you will save your wife? Only as the Lord has assigned to each one, as God has called each, in this manner let him walk. And so I direct in all the churches, was any man called when he was already circumcised? He is not to become uncircumcised. Has anyone been called in uncircumcision? He is not to be circumcised. Circumcision is nothing, and uncircumcision is nothing. But what matters is the keeping of the commandments of God. Each man must remain in that condition in which he was called. Were you called while a slave? Do not worry about it. But if you are able to become free, rather do that. For he who was called in the Lord while a slave is the Lord's freedman. Likewise, he who was called while free is Christ's slave. You were bought with a price. Do not become slaves of men. Brothers, each one is to remain with God in that condition in which he was called. Yeah? And this is what I'm talking about. And he said it like 2 to 3 times already. Now concerning virgins, I have no command of the Lord, but I give an opinion as one who by the mercy of the Lord is trustworthy. I think then that this is good because of the present distress, that it is good for a man to remain as he is. Are you bound to a wife? Do not seek to be released. Are you released from a wife? Do not seek a wife. But if you marry, you have not sinned. And if a virgin marries, she has not sinned. Yet such will have trouble in this life, and I am trying to spare you. But this I say, brothers, the time has been shortened, so that from now on those who have wives should be as though they had none, and those who cry as though they did not cry, and those who rejoice as though they did not rejoice, and those who buy as though they did not possess, and those who use the world as though they did not make full use of it. For the form of this world is passing away. But I want you to be free from concern. One who is unmarried is concerned about the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But one who is married is concerned about the things of the world, how he may please his wife. And his interests have been divided. The woman who is unmarried and the virgin is concerned about the things of the Lord, that she may be holy both in body and spirit. But one who is married is concerned about the things of the world, how she may please her husband. Now this I say for your own benefit, not to put a restraint upon you, but to promote propriety and undistracted devotion to the Lord. But if any man thinks that he is acting unbecomingly toward his virgin daughter, if she is past her youth, and if it must be so, let him do what he wishes, he does not sin, let her marry. But he who stands firm in his heart, being under no compulsion, but has authority over his own will, and has decided this in his own heart, to keep his own virgin daughter, he will do well. So then both he who gives his own virgin daughter in marriage does well, and he who does not give her in marriage will do better. A wife is bound as long as her husband lives, but if her husband has fallen asleep, she is free to be married to whom she wishes, only in the Lord. But in my opinion, she is happier if she remains as she is, and I think that I also have the Spirit of God. Right? So that's the whole passage. That's the whole chapter, right? Now, it's very dense, and there's a couple things in there which would require like separate videos. So you're talking about like divorce and remarriage. That's something else. A separate video all on its own, right? Even though in there it's ones and zeros, it's very straightforward in it. Like if you're divorced, then you should not be getting remarried. But I'll save that for another video in it. But yeah, remaining in the condition in which you were called. Like I said, I've been struggling with this for, I wouldn't say, would I say struggling? I've just been wrestling with it for the better part of a year now. Ignorance is bliss, yeah, because it's black and white. Like, now I know this, now I know the truth, yeah, I can't unknow it. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, moving forward, I have to deal with the reality of being single or not being married for the remainder of my life. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I decided to pick up my cross when I was single. This was like years ago, yeah. And I chose discipleship when I was single, went down in the water and all of that, right? I was single at the time, so I should remain single if we're looking at it like that, right? If I was married, then yeah, remain married, right? So now I know this, it makes no point for me to even entertain a relationship with a woman. Like, most women desire marriage in it, or desire commitment in some sort of way, right? I can't provide you with that, yeah. Like, I was with a girl like last year. I was checking a girl last year, and see, this was in the back of my mind, innit? Yeah, kind of in the back of my mind, not too much, but I couldn't be in that relationship. I couldn't be in that relationship knowing full well what the word says in it, yeah, and what I've been called to do, yeah. Now, there's only so long you can walk in sin without being convicted. Yeah, it just won't feel good after a while. Yeah, so that relationship lasted, about 6 months or so? Because it's like, if you can't be obedient to Christ, yeah, how do you expect a woman to be obedient to you? Do you understand? You gotta lead by example, right? Just going back to, like, let's say my mum, she gave her life at 13, teenager. Obviously, she got married. Yeah, I'm here now, right? I've had my own challenges. My, siblings have had their own challenges as well. And you just think, like, is that because you didn't follow the word? Yeah. Is that because of disobedience? Do you know, like that? My daughter's mum, she got baptized young as well. Yeah, she got baptized around 17. Yeah. And at the time, I was like, obviously, we were in a relationship at the time. And I was thinking to myself, yo, what does that mean, that we can't be in a relationship anymore? Yeah. And, it was in discussions of, whether I need to let this girl go. Yeah. For her own sake. Yeah. Obviously, we remain together and that, which, would I say is the wrong thing to do? Technically, it is the wrong thing to do. Yeah. Since that, obviously, we had my first daughter in it. So we're not together now. Is that a potential reason why? Yeah. Even though I would say we're on similar paths now, we weren't on similar paths at the time, and a lot's happened in between those times, innit? But yeah, kingdom divided can't stand. Yeah. What's it? How can two walk together if they don't agree? Do you know, like that? So yeah, my people suffer for lack of knowledge. It's terrible. So yeah, those are just like a couple of examples, innit? People will do so much mental gymnastics to get around this. Do you understand? Just like they do mental gymnastics to get around divorce and remarriage, or trying to come up with find loopholes to get around it. The word says what it says, and it's black and white, it's ones and zeros. Do you understand? And this is why I think it's very important that you really know the word before you make a decision in it, to pick up your cross in it, to choose discipleship. there should be a test before you go down in the water. Like, you should have to set an exam, to make sure that you know the word and know what you're getting yourself into before they allow you to go down in the water and, choose discipleship. Once you choose it, there's no going back. Once you choose discipleship, there's no going back. When you make a vow to God, do not be late in paying it, for he takes no delight in fools. Pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than you should vow and not pay. Do not allow your mouth to cause your flesh to sin, and do not say in the presence of the messenger of God that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry on account of your voice and wreak destruction on the work of your hands? So I think it's very important that you know the word before you make vows like this, before you decide to pick up your cross. Or else you're going to be in for a rude awakening. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's important, it's imperative that you know the word and you count the cost. Do you understand? You count the cost, right? Now, obviously you're counting against eternal life. Really, it should be a no-brainer. What is 80 years, 90 years compared to eternity? It probably won't even be 80 years. If you take out childhood, you're looking at 70 years? What is 70 years compared to eternity? What makes this so difficult, is because obviously when we were created, before the fall, and obviously Adam had Eve, and Eve was created for Adam, she was created to be a helpmate. So your flesh is going to be telling you, or to find your rib. Your flesh is going to be telling you need to find your rib in it. That's going to be a desire of the flesh. Do you understand what I'm saying? But because of the fall, things have changed. Do you understand? Like, relationship dynamics have changed as well, right? So you got to die to flesh. You got to die to that. The thing that makes it easier is that obviously love is sacrificial in nature. And to be honest, there's not a lot of women out here worth sacrificing for. There's not a lot of women out here worth sacrificing for. I was doing that, what's it called? What's the test called, bro? Delusion calculator, or whatever it is, isn't it? Where you type in your ideal partner and so forth, right? Man was like 0.01%, in America. It's like, what, 0.01%? It might have been less than that. It might have been 0.001%. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's not even all my filters on there, right? So there's literally no chance. Most of them have been ran through. They've got at least 5 bodies, even by the age of 20. Do you understand? Some even more, right? Which is absolutely crazy to me. Why would you want to sacrifice for these women? Do not give your excellence to women, or your ways to that which blots out kings. Listen, as a man, you don't really need a woman to survive. And when you look at how marriage laws are set up, it's not favorable to men. Once you get married, as a man, you're literally a slave to this person. They've got you on smash. You can't afford to step out of line, right? You can't afford to step out of line once you're married, because that's half your shit gone. Do you understand? That's your kids gone, right? So they've literally, they've got you by the balls. There's only one other instance in which a man bows before someone else, or kneels before someone else, right? And that's before a king or a queen, and that's before God. It's before a superior entity. Before your superiors. So you voluntarily getting on one knee, shows you're willing to give up your life and be in service to this person. Do you know, like that? Right? So, man can't be doing that. I've done it once, and thank God, man got out of that situation. Or he paved the way for me to get out of those situations, bro. Because, like, some men, I'm not gonna lie, some men are made for relationship material, other men aren't. And I'm part of the other men. I'm not relationship material. I can't be answering to anyone and providing my whereabouts updates and that as and when, like being on call and that. Like, no. Let's not do that. That's not me. Additionally, if you're gonna get married, the only reason really to get married is if you want to have kids, right? But then you got to consider whether or not bringing a child into this world is the right thing to do. Do you know, like that? Yeah. They're not asking to be here. A lot of time people have children for selfish reasons. Do you understand? I mean, if you look at the state of the current world today and where the world's heading, is it fair on them to bring them into this world? Especially if you don't have the resources or, yeah, especially if you don't have the resources to provide them with all the tools that they need or that they require, yeah, to live comfortably. And it's even more difficult when you're a Christian as well. You know, when you're a disciple, when you're choosing discipleship, okay, the world's a lot more difficult to navigate. So you need to make sure everything's patterned before you have children. Yeah, even though, like, obviously if you were called or single, you should be remaining single. Obviously, going back to like our godly men, red flags, you would have to say, yeah, like if a godly man, yeah, if a godly man is pursuing you, that is a red flag, because really he should be single. His priorities are not in the right place. Do you understand? That's how I look at things now. Yeah. Like I said, I was contemplating whether or not to even do this video because, you know, once you know, you can't unknow. But yeah, for me, it's very difficult to accept because, you know, I love women. Yeah, I love women too much, and it gets me into trouble. Man, them need to know this, innit? Women are the number one downfall of most men. Yeah, I'm not alone in this. Yeah, I'm not alone in this, bro. So you just gotta think long term about what you want. So yeah, that's all I wanted to speak about today. Not much. Well, it's quite a lot to take in and digest and to internalize. But like I said, this life makes it a bit easier to accept when you see all the BS that's going on and just see how the world's set up. But yeah, are godly men a red flag? They are a red flag. Yeah, they are a red flag. I gotta give it that one.